It is pretty extraordinary that the president is getting so much done, given the fact that the Democrats are still talking about impeaching the president. What was your reaction to what Robert Mueller said this week?
Well, frankly, I was pleased to see the special counsel announce that the investigation is over. It's case closed. The special counsel sent his report, and he concluded that there was no collusion. And after a review of the facts, the Department of Justice confirmed there was no collusion, no obstruction. And I think the American people want to see this Congress move on. Move on to the things that are making a difference in their lives.
He said if we knew that the president did not commit a crime, we would have said so. And that is stoking more impeachment talk. Are you expecting impeachment proceedings?
Well, I wouldn't know why there would be. I really wouldn't. I mean, this president's been delivering for the American people. These questions were raised about election interference. And we know that Russia interfered in the 2016 elections. We don't believe it affected the outcome in any way, but we've held them accountable for that. We've taken steps to ensure that that doesn't happen again. But there were other questions raised about collusion. Now, even the special counsel confirmed that there was no collusion between our campaign and the Russians. And the Department of Justice has confirmed that there was no collusion, no obstruction. The matter is entirely over. It's entirely closed. The American people got the answers. And I couldn't be more proud, Maria, of the fact that for more than 2 years, hundreds of witnesses, millions of pages of documents, full cooperation with the special counsel, this president and our office and our entire administration fully cooperated. And the American people now know that the investigation is at an end. They have their answers. But what I think the country wants to see us do is focus on the things that are now most important to them, and that is jobs and security. You know, we're in discussions right now about a budget agreement that will allow us to continue to make historic investments in our national defense. We've got a crisis on our southern border. You traveled there very recently. You saw it firsthand, as did your viewers on this program. I mean, we're on track to have more than 1 million apprehensions at our southern border. And yet Congress, some in Congress continue to focus on investigations, baseless allegations, while literally last month alone, more than 118,000 people were apprehended at our southern border. And Congress continues to refuse to act to close the loopholes that are being used by cartels and drug traffickers to entice people to make the long and dangerous journey north to our southern border. The American people want to see a Congress focus where this president and our team are focused, and that is on their security, on securing our border, on closing the loopholes, bringing about asylum reform, and advancing the kind of policies that will continue to create jobs in this booming economy.
Well, what we saw at the border was actually quite extraordinary. The children in these dangerous positions, women are renting out their kids, $140 apparently, so the smugglers can bring the children over the border. Are you expecting real reform on immigration? Will the Congress actually take that up in terms of changing the Flores decision, the asylum standards? Is that even doable this year?
It has to happen. President Trump has taken decisive action to call on Mexico to take further action, to intervene in this massive flow of people that are coming north from Central America to our border, to come into our country and take advantage of those loopholes. And the president's also going to continue to call on this Congress to pass the kind of common sense reforms. Look, we have a humanitarian and a security crisis at our southern border. I mean, the drug cartels and human traffickers, you heard it firsthand. They are telling people in Guatemala and El Salvador and throughout Central America about loopholes in our laws, and that if they come up with children, that they'll have the opportunity to come into our country. And that's just unacceptable. This Congress ought to be willing to set politics completely aside and at minimum bring about the kind of changes in our asylum laws that would fix this immediate problem overnight. We're building the wall. We're building hundreds of miles of wall over the next several years. The president's kept his promise in that regard. We're providing resources for Customs and Border Protection. But we have to close the loopholes in our law. And the action the president has taken and will continue to take are all designed to say that Congress needs to step up and bring about the kind of reforms that will close these loopholes and end that magnet that drug cartels and human traffickers are using, and will continue to call on Mexico and take actions necessary to see to it that Mexico does their job to ensure that this mass exodus and humanitarian crisis comes to an end.